I must begin by thanking my former Senate colleague, Rudy, for such a stirring introduction. This is now the 73rd time that this great political party has met at an annual conference. The Barbados Labour Party is the oldest political institution in the Caribbean. We meet as the grand old party of the Caribbean Labour parties. We meet today on what can be considered hallowed political ground. This is hallowed political ground, comrades, because when Gregory Adams came to St. Joseph, the owner and occupier of Blackman Plantation, on which this campus now stands, was at the height of the resistance to the political progressive policies of the Barbados Labour Party. It is an irony that we can sit here today, 60 years after universal adult suffrage, on the very site at which the planter class met to keep Gregory Adams and the Barbados Labour Party and its progressive agenda from off the face of the political map of Barbados. So therefore, we have much to shout about as a political institution. The Democratic Labour Party is better at political propaganda than us. So while David Thompson, who has a legacy of summer camps, bus fares, and constituency councils, is being regaled in the national press and all across the print and electronic media for 2 failed years as a Prime Minister of Barbados. We, the Barbados Labour Party, should recall that it was this very site that we have used to overthrow the planter class, which was so fundamentally opposed to the progressive agenda of this Barbados Labour Party. Therefore, I feel it would be remiss of us if we do not formally endorse the vision of that great Barbados Labour Party administration that came to government in 1951. And within 3 to 4 years, built this school as part of that social agenda, that progressive social agenda that had laid the foundation for what we consider the modern Barbados. Comrades, we meet under the theme rescue, rebuild, and restore. And in the 34 years that we have held government in this country, we have always had to rescue this country from going over the brink. When Gregory Adams came in 1951 with that team, had to re-engineer the social infrastructure and the political infrastructure of Barbados, to modernize Barbados, to give working people an opportunity to have a stake in this country. After 15 years of Barra, Tom Adams and his team in 1976 came to office to help this country understand what it is to have an economy that is not dominated by the sugar cane. And Barra had said he would like the day that there will no longer be a cane blade in Barbados. But he never in 15 years brought a single policy to develop any other sector of the Barbados economy so that we will not have an economy dependent on sugar. And this Barbados Labour Party administration, led by Tom Adams, came to government in the 1970s and introduced the offshore financial services sector facilitated the rapid expansion of the tourism industry, our two largest economic sectors in Barbados today. They introduced the Ministry of Energy and started to open up Barbados' external relations to the non-aligned movement and countries that had not hitherto been part of our international framework. ONAFA came back in 1994 after 8 failed years of Sandiford and the Dems. And we know what we left in 2008. A treasury that was flush with cash. Foreign reserves that we didn't have to worry about. An unemployment rate that was negligible. The economy of Barbados was on a firm footing, and notwithstanding the international recession that was pending, we were holding our own. We were the first and the only Caribbean country to go into the international recession, this present recession, as a country on the OECD whitelist. We are now the only Caribbean country on the OECD grey list. And if the Fidel Stewart administration does not rush the Parliament between now and November and pass a whole raft of regulatory reforms, the OECD, in their assessment next month, will blacklist Barbados as an offshore financial jurisdiction again. I say all this to you, that in the 73 years of the Barbados Labour Party being here, working for the people of this country, we have always had to come to office to rescue this country. So the first part of our theme for this year's conference must bear the significance of the task that lies ahead, that the Democratic Labour Party, like Christopher Columbus, who when he left, did not know where he was going, did not know how he was going to get there, and when he got there, he didn't know where he was. This Democratic Labour Party does not know what it's doing. This Democratic Labour Party does not know where it is going to take this country. And it does not know if it was going to take it somewhere, how it will get there. But the good thing about it is, as the old people say, you can do as you like, when you like, how you like, where you like, but not as long as you like. And all across Barbados, and yes, in St. Michael Northwest, you get the sense that people in this country will toss this government as far into the sea as they possibly can. If we get up and march around government headquarters 2 times, the government will fall down. They are grabbing everything that they possibly can because they know this is their last mass. They're not even putting up a fight. So therefore, we need to move on to the concept of rebuilding Barbados. Because all of us in here will vote for the Barbados Labour Party. And all of us in here will canvass for the Barbados Labour Party and work to get rid of this wicked and inept government led by Fidel Stewart. But colleagues, do not be fooled. The task of governing a small, open economy like Barbados is not going to be easy, especially in an uncertain international economic climate. All of the platforms for development that this country has historically relied upon are no longer available. We therefore have to dig deep into our innermost resolve to rebuild this country to what it has we have experienced. From all the great patriarchs, from the Right Excellent Sir Grantley Adams and the great leaders like ONAFA, all of that work that we have done in the past, my friends, I fear is going to be irrelevant to our future. In order to win this government, because we must admit, we lost the last election, in order to get those people who do not support the Barbados Labour Party or the BLP, the people in the middle, what the American political system calls the independents. In order to get them out to vote for us, we have to be able to show them an economic, social, and political forecast that shows an agenda that builds a society that is prosperous, a society that is fair, and a society that is globally competitive. This is the environment in which we are looking to go into government, to rebuild a Barbados. Not on the old development props, but on new infrastructure. So therefore I hope, it is my hope, that in this conference and going forward, the real building blocks to rebuild this country as one of the leading developing countries in the world, we can carve out those blocks in the quarries of this annual conference. That is our real task. We also have to restore the Barbadian vision so that Barbadians can feel that we can aspire to be the best in the world, like Gary Sobers and Everton Weeks in their time, against all odds of social repression, held the accolades of the best in the world in their field, despite the social inequalities that existed in the country we call Barbados. So that this conference and our task going forward is not only to make sport at the Devils because they don't know what they're doing. We know that is true. But we have to go forward as a united front. We have to put a manifesto that is attractive to those people who have a stake in this country, Barbados. Not only the people who will support the Barbados Labour Party, the Dems will curse us, but all those people who did not vote in the last election, and all those people who have not yet voted, but would have grown up with a Barbados where Guaynafo was at the helm of this country, where economic prosperity was part of the mission of the government of Barbados, and where the well-being of everybody was not in doubt. Every day, we dread the news. One cut, another drawback. But the Democratic Labour Party is not interested in the concept of developing this country on a sustainable basis. So that Fernand Stewart has continued the lines for the bus drivers and the maids, carry them up in lower court, get them enough moccasin and Guinness, send school the children on buses free and that kind of thing. Because they understand that their survival is based on winning an election and maintaining a certain level of political propaganda. This real engineering of this country and the rebuilding of this country has historically come to the Barbados Labour Party. So our task, colleagues, is to convince this country that is weary and tired of the Dems. My colleague, Dwight Sutton, said to you, Bajans get shortchanged. They didn't get change. And they know that. But it doesn't behoove us anything. If all of the Labour Party faithful come out and vote, and the Dems come out and vote, and the independents say, I ain't ready to vote back in the Barbados Labour Party, I vex with the Dems and I stay home. So let us understand that the fight is the fight for the middle ground. In St. Michael Northwest, my campaign team can tell me all of the Dems, who they are, where they live, what they do. I am interested in two groups of people. The people who did not vote in the last election, and those people who are coming onto the voters list for the first time. 240 votes is the margin that I have to turn around. I start at 0, yes, but I know for sure Chris Sinclair will not get the 2,130 votes he got in the last election. And despite all of the money that he spent, and despite all of the money that he's planning to spend, I know that he will not get those votes. On Monday, we both attended the funeral. And some of his people tell him, we're glad to see you, Minister, at a funeral for a change, because we see Nicholls at all these funerals. And he was overheard saying to his people, don't worry about Gregory Nicholls. I got so much money left back for the last election, when I start to spend it eating rent. But I tell people, take his money. Take his money. But if you want 5 more years of that kind of representation, you will sell your vote. Because I know that if you sell your vote for food, the man is buying for one. And if Barbadians across the landscape are willing to be bought by the Democratic Party again, then we can really back up the shop. In order, therefore, colleagues, for us to buck the trend that the Dems are planning, I feel it's a myth, because they don't have CLICO available to them and all the financial resources that they had in the last election. All of the financial resources they had in the last election, they cannot buy the 8 or 9 seats that are needed to change the government. They will not be able to buy it. So therefore I am calling on this conference, let us hold hands together. Let us show Barbadians that we are ready again to rescue this country from the Dems, to rebuild this country to be one of the leading countries in the Caribbean, and to restore us on our pathway to excellence. The Greek philosopher Aristotle argued that excellence is not a single habit. Excellence is what you repeatedly do. And therefore, this is a party of 73 years of an excellent track record all across the political, social, and economic landscape of this country. We therefore have everything that is going for us. And therefore, our excellence will carry us through. I urge you not to get sidetracked as to who is the political leader, because none of us in here, except we are MPs, can choose a political leader. And if they choose a political leader, in the structure of this party and in this organization, it matters not. Wilfred, Santia, Jerome. No, when you canvass, people don't ask you, who is going to be the political leader at your conference? People want to know about the cost of living. People want to know about the VAT. People want to know about the electricity. People want to know about the levels of unemployment in Barbados. People are scared to go out their homes because of the crime and the increasing levels of crime and violence in this country. Those wedge issues, the Dems will want to engage us on. And I'm not saying that we can sweep these issues under the carpet, but as far as I'm aware, the parliamentary group has settled for the time being the issue of the political leadership. This party therefore needs to move on from that. And this party needs to start speaking consistently, like Ms. Minnie does, and others does, Conrad Jerome Davis, in the mediums that they use on a weekly basis to get this government out of office. The truth is, we cannot afford the Democratic Labour Party anymore. We can't afford more Kenny Besses, who they not calling Kenny worse. You know, I was in a supermarket about 3 weeks ago, and the man asked me, man, Nicholls, tell me what the Queen do Kenny best. I said, the Queen? He said, yes, I want to know what the Queen do Kenny best. I said, I don't understand me. Well, you don't speak her language at all. These are, you know, this is the denigration of the work of people at the Right Excellence of Grantley Adams. So we laugh at these things. But all of us should rush home in the great days of the debates of the House Assembly. But we know what Kenny Best and Patrick Todd in Parliament. And Chris Sinclair is no better. Because they say he's bright, but he got knowledge a mile wide, but only an inch deep. I am ready to hear some man out to tell me is a girlfriend. But he lost elections against Ishmael Roy on 2 occasions. And beat Clyde by 240 votes. Winning the box in the farm by 4 votes. With all the money that he spent. So when I said at my nomination to tell Chris Sinclair that hell is coming, that I am coming and hell is coming with me, he get his people to write in the paper that I'm an antichrist. I don't believe in God. I need to go to church. I will leave the description of Spider-Man for the meeting in Deacons. So for those of you who can tell him I will explain at Deacons Crossroad why they call it Spider-Man. And we know spiders only crawl walls. But I will deal with him. And I want to tell you, I am not fighting for Chris Sinclair or the Democratic Labour Party. And Chris Sinclair will face his last election in Barbados at the next polls. I am going about my business very quietly in my constituency, and I have not been turned back anywhere that I have gone. I see other people in the constituency more often than him, but he said he can spend money during elections. So I'm not worried about him, because I know the people of this country and the people of St. Michael Northwest in particular have had enough. Comrades, I have been told by our conference chair that it's time to wrap up. I would like to pass a resolution that I can continue, but we have the business of the party to dispatch. And I therefore want to end by thanking you for embracing me as part of your team to rescue, rebuild, and restore Barbados. Good evening, and God bless.